Jason, thanks. Ahead of the debate, ahead of the election, a former presidential candidate is now on the campaign trail, too. He's advocating for President Biden's re-election.
Senator Bernie Sanders is at the UA Local 400 in Kaukauna tonight, rallying voters there. Emily Riley joins us now live to explain who Senator Sanders has been focused on meeting this week here in Wisconsin. Emily.
Plumbers and steam fitters are being joined by Outagamie County Executive Tom Nelson in welcoming Senator Bernie Sanders here in Kaukauna. Sanders has been making campaign stops at Wisconsin union locations this week, saying President Biden is the candidate who supports working people. We spoke with Nelson earlier this afternoon, who says Sanders' appearance will rally together support from Democrats. He says he believes Sanders was instrumental as the chairman of the Senate Budget Committee in making sure local communities here received critical funding.
It's an honor to have someone like Bernie Sanders here who has had such a big impact in making sure that the Fox Valley receives our fair share of ARPA and COVID relief money.
We'll be here following tonight's rally, which just began. Senator Sanders is expected to take to the podium at 6 p.m. and we'll be streaming that at WBAY.com. Reporting live in Kaukauna, Emily Riley, Action 2 News.
Emily, thanks. The Wisconsin GOP also releasing a statement late this afternoon which says, quote, Wisconsinites know Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden have nothing to offer except 4 more years of higher taxes and rising costs, end quote.